walk into the immigration offices with hope in their eyes and their life savings in their hands. I saw teachers, I saw engineers, nurses, small business owners, all desperate for a better life for their families. So, on working with the immigration with different immigration agencies, I've seen people struggle over and over and over again just because they want to achieve their dream of moving abroad. And I've seen agents systematically take advantage of these people's desperation, because when you work in the travel industry, you see a lot of people so desperate to change their situation, and it is always very easy to take advantage of desperate people. I've saw a caregiver from Ibadan pay 800,000 naira for what should have just cost her 150,000 naira at the most. The agent told her that all what she needed was special processing and expedited handling, just English, and all lies. I've seen a truck driver from Kano get his application delayed for 8 months because the agent was handling 200 plus cases simultaneously, and the agent could not keep track of what he was meant to do. So 8 months of his life was wasted because he was waiting for the agent. I've seen a plumber from Port Harcourt pay 1.2 million naira upfront only for the agent to disappear completely after collecting the money. Everything was gone like that. But the worst part is that these incidents were not isolated incidents. This was something that was happening every single day to dozens of people across multiple agencies. Then, the moment that changed everything was when I was reviewing a client's Express Entry application. Express Entry is a very simple, straightforward process, something that can give you Canada PR, something life changing, and it's a very simple process that can take you at most an hour or 2 hours to navigate. And I saw the agent was charging 700,000 naira for something that literally took me 3 hours to complete using free government website. Now, this is when the realization hits me that people don't need expensive agent, they need someone to show them the right step. So I dug deeper. I spent months studying every pathway, every requirement, every document needed for Canada immigration, and that is what we are about to share with you in the webinar this night. We have created systems, templates, and step-by-step processes that anyone can follow. Now, these systems are not just something that we created randomly. We have tested it over and over again with different people, and it has worked out from them. I've seen a carpenter get his PMP nomination in 4 months, a caregiver who secured a job offer without paying a single applicant, a retail manager who was able to boost his CRS score by 89 points and was able to get his Canada PR. So this system and processes that we're going to be showing to you in the webinar this night is something that has worked for people and is still working for people. Now, after applying these systems to different people, every success story confirms something I already knew. Nigerians don't need to pay millions to agents, they need the right information and proper guidance. And this is when I realized my true calling. Instead of watching people get scammed and exploited, I can teach them how to take control of their own destiny. Now, if you can see why I'm so passionate about this, let me type I see it in the comment section. Type I see it in the comment section. If you can see why I'm passionate about this, type I see it in the comment section. Type I see it in the comment section if you see why I'm passionate about this. Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, for the past 3 years, I've been quietly helping Nigerians navigate the Canadian immigration system themselves. I have developed foolproof systems that eliminate the guesswork, foolproof systems that prevent costly mistakes and save people hundreds of thousands of naira, and the result speaks for themselves. Over 20 people have successfully chosen the right immigration path for their situation. Over 700 students have passed their IELTS and other required exams using the strategies we're about to show you this evening. Countless families have saved millions by avoiding predatory agents. So today I'm going to be sharing this insider secret with you. Everything the agents do not want you to know, every shortcut, every strategy, every template that makes Canada PR achievable for ordinary Nigerians, that is what we are going to be sharing to you. Now, here are some testimonies right here on my screen. Here is someone that was able to get the job offer 5 days. Was able to get the job offer 5 days after going through the process here, and we're able to get their community recommendation. And here is somebody thanking us for simplifying the process involved in Canada permanent residency. Here are also other people talking about thanking us for the knowledge they got from the program we're about to share with you. Here's someone thanking us for the caregiver bonus because it helped them navigate the caregiver pathway. So before we go any further, I need your commitment. I need your complete commitment this night. Now, what we are going to be showing you this night is not just another YouTube video you will forget about tomorrow. Now, this is your future we are talking about. Yeah, because a lot of us that are seated at this webinar today are here because we want to change our story. We are here to change our story. So I need you to agree to 3 non-negotiables. The first thing is that you will stay until the very end of this webinar. You won't stay until 80%, not until 90%, but you will stay for the entire presentation. And I also need you to agree to one thing. You are genuinely serious about changing your life, because what we are doing this night is not for entertainment. It's serious work. It's about transformation. And also, you understand that there's going to be an offer at the end. I'm going to show you how to get everything I am teaching you today. If you can commit to these 3 intangibles, that means you are going to stay until the very end of this webinar. You are genuinely serious about changing your life, and you are not here for entertainment. You are here for transformation. And also, if you can agree to the third thing, that you understand that there's going to be an offer at the end of the webinar, please, I want you to type committed in the comment section. Help me type committed in the comment section. Now, working inside I want you to type committed in the comment section. If you are serious about changing your life this night, if you are ready to commit to these 3 intangibles, please, I need you to type comment section. I need you to type committed in the comment section. We are about 30 something in this webinar, and only 4 people have typed committed. I need you all to type committed in the comment section if you are serious about changing your story this night. Now, working inside the immigration industry has showed me some things. The difference between success and failure is not money, education, or connections. Is having access to the right information and knowing how to use it. A lot of the times when I talk to clients, they will tell me that if I had known this information 5 years or 4 years ago, what will I still be doing in this country? If I had known about what you are telling me, there is no reason why I would have been here. I would have moved, and this is what I've been looking for years and years. So the difference between success and failure when it comes to immigration is not about money. Rather, it's about having access to the right information. And that right information is what I'm going to be giving to you this night. So, before we go into the deep dive session, I want you to take note of something. Ask yourself, everything we are doing here today, what we are doing here today, who are you doing it for? Because a lot of us are not just immigrating for ourselves. There are reasons that are particular to us that are encouraging us to immigrate. So let me ask yourself, why are you doing this? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for your children? Are you doing it for your parents? Are you doing it for your future family? So whoever you are doing it for, hold that person in mind, because everything we are going to be doing today is for them. Now, who is this webinar for? If you are here today, who is this webinar for? This webinar is for you if you want to relocate to Canada through permanent residency within the next 3 to 6 months, because it's very, very possible. People even relocate in less time than that when they have the right information. Second thing is that if you want to understand every step of your application and if possibly apply yourself, then this webinar is for you. If you are interested in the caregiver route or in the skilled trades like truck driving, carpentry, and plumbing, this webinar is for you. And if you are searching for legitimate ways to travel abroad without spending hundreds of millions, then this webinar is for you. Now, also, if you want a comprehensive step-by-step knowledge on every active PR route that can get you into Canada in 2026, this webinar is for you. If you want to know the total cost of traveling to Canada with your family, no hidden charges, we are going to be explaining to you how much exactly you are going to be spending. So if you want to have the knowledge of what you will need to spend to get you and your family into Canada, then this webinar is for you. If you are above 40 and you don't want age to hold you back or reduce the strength of your application, then this webinar is also for you. Also, if you never want to fall victim to scammers again, this webinar is for you. So if you are part of the people I described here in this comment section, I want you to type "that is me." If this is exactly what you need, I want you to type "that is me." Okay, now I want you to type "that is me." If this is exactly what you need, I want you to type "that is me." Type "that is me" if this is exactly what you need. Okay, I think I can see that a lot of us are fired up. So let's go on. Now, why Canadian permanent residency? Let me tell you something. Canadian permanent residency is not just a good choice, is the logical choice for serious Nigerians in 2025. Why is it the logical choice? First of all, you have high demand for skilled workers. While Nigeria is struggling with unemployment, Canada is desperately begging for caregivers, plumbers, mechanics, and drivers. They are literally paying people to come. The next thing is that it's a great choice for professionals. If you're a professional, you are a teacher, you're a sales executive, you're a manager, you're an healthcare worker, you're an IT expert, Canada wants you more than Nigeria appreciates you. That's one thing I want you to know, that Canada wants you more than Nigeria appreciates you. Another thing you should know about Canada PR is that it's a pathway to citizenship. Here is what people don't tell you. Unlike the study route or work permit route, Canada PR gives you the chance to become a Canadian citizen in just 3 years. So with your PR card, you have the opportunity to become a Canadian citizen in just 3 years. So this is not just residency, this is a Canadian passport. Another thing you should know is that Canada PR is highly affordable. It's very, very affordable. Compared to the study route, it costs 1/10 of what you are going to be spending if you are going through the study route. So Canada PR is something that is very, very, very affordable. Please give me a minute. Let me admit more people that are trying to join. So Canada PR is something that it's very, very affordable. Very affordable. Now, another thing is that is the higher quality of life. A lot of us, the reason why we want to move is that we want to move to a country that gives us a higher quality of life. And Canada is somewhere that gives us that. You have access to subsidized healthcare. That means that your children will not die from terrible diseases. Lower school fees means you can actually get your kids quality education. If that sounds like the life you want for your family, I want you to type absolutely in the comment section. If everything I've described sounds like the life you want for your family, I want you to type absolutely in the comment section if you want that future. Please type absolutely in the comment section before we go on. Please type absolutely. Please, I need you to be engaged because we are going to be going through all the pathways and we are going to be having some very, very important discussions. Please type absolutely in the comment section. Now, here is the first. Now, when it comes to Canada PR, there are a lot of lies people tell you. The first myth is that Canada PR is only for university graduates with perfect English. That is false. The truth is that it's complete nonsense that is designed to make you feel helpless. Now, working with travel agencies, I saw this slide destroy countless dreams. Agents will look at perfectly qualified candidates and say, sorry, your profile is not strong enough. You need to pay so amount for our premium service. A lot of the times, that is complete rubbish. Now, one thing about Canada PR is that there are pathways designed for university graduates and there are pathways that are designed for people that are not university graduates. Like I said before, a lot of the times, you getting Canada PR is dependent on you having access to the right information. So based on your qualifications, your degrees and other things you have, one knowledge you need to have is the ability to pick the right pathway for you. So someone telling you that it's only for university graduates is wrong. There are other pathways that non-university graduates can use to get Canada PR. Now, let me show you the real express entry process. Now, right now, we'll be getting into the teaching part of the webinar. So, we'll be talking about the different pathways to landing Canada PR in 2025-2026. Now, some pathways we'll be talking about this night require a degree, while others do not require a degree. So, based on your qualification you have, you should be getting your notes and paper, your paper and pen ready right now. So, for the degree, the pathways that require a degree, the first pathway that requires a degree is the express entry pathway. Please, if your mic is on, I need you to mute your mic if it is on. Okay. Okay, so some pathways require a degree while other pathways do not require a degree. Now, the first pathway is the express entry pathway. Now, express entry is something that requires a degree. Now, when it comes to express entry is a point-based system where different people calculate their points based on the different qualifications they have. So they calculate your age, your marriage status, your university degree, then your English test, your English proficiency test. They calculate all this and use this to give you a score, and then you enter the pool, and based on your score you get your Canada PR nomination. When it comes to express entry, there is a 5-step process. The first step to express entry is getting your ECA completed. So now, one thing about it is that for all pathways that require a university degree, you are going to be using something similar to this. So the first step is getting your ECA completed. Now, your ECA is your WES evaluation. So you get your ECA completed, your WES evaluation. So let me show you the site you are going to. Yeah, this is where you are going to be using to do your WES evaluation. So your WES evaluation is that simply you are evaluating your result, your university degree, and the Canadian government uses this process to check the legitimacy of your degree. So the first step to getting express entry is you go through your WES evaluation. After that, the next thing you do is you take your language test, which is the IELTS or the CELPIP exam. Then the third thing you do is create what we call an express entry profile. You go online, you create the profile, you fill in your different details. Now, this is an example of what you are going to be filling in when creating the express entry profile. So if we go here, when you see express entry, now you create your profile, you use the different information here. So the first thing they check for is your marital status, whether you are married or separated. Then they ask you, so they will ask you different questions. They ask for your age. Now, based on all these questions they ask, you are given a score. So they ask you for your degree certification, whether you have a bachelor's degree or you have the master's degree. So all these questions will be asked of you. Then they ask you whether you have they ask for whether you have a Canadian degree, a diploma, a certificate. Then the next thing they ask for is your English language test. So when you are going to Canada, you have to do what we call the English language proficiency test. This test simply talks about simply shows them how proficient you are in English. So there are two tests you can do. You can do the English language proficiency test or the French proficiency test. So when after submitting all of this, you calculate your score. So when you calculate your score, you enter a pool, and what they do is that every month they all draws. So if your score falls in line with the cutoff mark for that month, then you get what we call an ITA, and you are invited to apply for Canadian permanent residency. Getting an ITA is equivalent to getting permanent residency, because after you have gotten the ITA, all what you have to do is now submit proof of the documents that you say you have. And now, if you look at the Canadian government website, you will see that as early as November 14th, that is about today is November 21. As early as 7 days ago, they held draws and invited 3,500 people, and I personally know about 8 or 10 people that got their Canada permanent residency just 7 days ago. And if you check their website, you will see that almost in November alone this year, November 10, November 12, November, they have held 3 different draws and invited 3 people. And if you see, even in October, you see in October they held about 8 draws in October. So you can see every month while you are still stuck here, people are making moves and getting their Canada permanent residency while you are still trying to figure things out every month, because they hold these draws every month while you are still stuck here trying to figure things out. People are making moves and getting their permanent residency. So the steps is you get your ECA completed, which is you do your WES, you take your language test, you create your express entry profile, you apply for PNP, which is Provincial Nominee Program. We are going to take a deep dive into this later. Then the next thing you do is you get an ITA, which is an invitation to apply. So after you have submitted all these documents, if you fall within the cutoff mark, you get an invitation to apply. Then the next thing you do is that you complete your medical and your police clearance certificate. Then your application is now under assessment. Then the last thing you do is now you receive your confirmation of permanent residency. So this is the simple pathway to getting for express entry. Now, after you have completed this pathway, the next thing you do is you arrive in Canada as a permanent resident. Now, this step is very simple when you see it laid out. Now, if you are starting to see how achievable this is, I want you to type I see in the comment section. If you are starting to see how achievable this is, I want you to type I see in the comment section. Type I see in the comment section. If you are starting to see how achievable this is, I want you to type I see in the comment section. I want you to type I see in the comment section. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so some people are getting issues admitted. Don't worry, I'm on it. I'm going to admit as much people as possible. Okay, so now let's continue. Before we go on to the other pathways, here is another testimonial from someone that was able to achieve permanent residency. Now, what are the other ways? Now, there are some hidden pathways. The myth is that you need a university degree to get Canada PR. This is a very big myth and one of the biggest lies in the immigration industry. I've watched agents turn away qualified straight people. A skilled welder will walk in and they will say you need a degree. Your chances are slim, but a lot of the times, a very, very wrong information is that you need a degree. Now, the major pathway that needs a degree is the express entry pathway, which is what I've just laid down. Now, if you don't have a university degree, you don't have a university certificate, the fastest route to getting Canada PR, if you don't have a university certificate, is to focus on skill-based pathways. Skill-based pathways. So, skill-based pathway means that a lot of the times the Canadian government or different provinces or different states in Canada are in need of some particular set of skilled workers, and they post this information on their website a lot of the time. So if you do not have a university degree, another way to get into Canada is to focus on the skill-based pathways. And what is the first skill-based pathway? The first skill-based pathway is the Provincial Nominee Program. Now, the Provincial Nominee, in Canada, you have the provinces. The way you have states here in Canada, in Nigeria, you have provinces in Canada. Now, a lot of the times on these provinces' website, they will state that there are needs of different type of skilled workers, different sets of skilled workers. So if you do not have a university degree, you can apply to those pathways that require a lot of skilled workers. A year ago, a particular province, Alberta, was in need of IT workers, people that were computer literate, and you didn't necessarily need a university degree to go into Manitoba. And in that same year, over 1,000 people were able to utilize that pathway, even though they didn't have a university degree. So a lot of the times when you go into the province's website, you will see that they are in need of some particular skilled workers. If you don't have a university degree, this is one of the pathways you can use to apply for permanent residency. Now, what are the top skills for PMP that Canada is crying out for? You have skill trades like electricians, plumbers, mechanics, logistics, the truck drivers, the supply chain managers. Please, whose mic is on? If your mic is on, please help us mute it, because it will hinder the class. So now you have agriculture, you have the farm supervisors, the harvest laborers, the butchers. Now you have the manufacturing industries, you have the industrial workers, machine operators, welders. You have education, the early childhood education educators, the teachers. In the hospitality sections, you have chefs, cooks, cleaners. In the technology section, you have the software developer, and you have the IT analyst. Now, and I'm not just going to say this thing by mouth. Let's go into their website so that you can see where they list the demand for these different priority occupations. Let's go into the Canadian government website, where we can see the demand for these priority occupations. Okay, a minute please. So now, if you go into this particular community called Sault Ste. Marie. Now, if you click on here where we call applicant. Now, if you go to their website, you will see different list of employers here, looking for people that can come into Canada. This is just one website here, and you will see over 50 something employers who can come into Canada. So one way to apply for permanent residency if you don't have a university degree is through the PMP route. Now let's talk about the other ways you can use to apply for a university degree if you don't have a PMP. And one thing you should know is that the PMP is also something you can use for the express entry route, even if you have a degree, because when you're applying for express entry, PMP adds 600 points to your CRS score, which is virtually a guaranteed invitation. So if you have any of these skills, type yes in the comment section if you have any of these skills. If you have any of these skills that I've listed down here, I want you to type yes in the comment section. Okay, some people are complaining that they can't see the website page. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to show it now. Okay, so right now you'll be able to see it. Okay, so right now wherever I am in my screen, you'll be able to see it. So these are the list of employers in Sault Ste. Marie, which is a province in Ontario, Canada. Now, so if you can't see it, here is it on my screen. So now, another option here is what we call the caregiver pilot. Now, the caregiver pilot is for those in the healthcare sector. So let's say you are a caregiver. Now, the IRCC issued this brand new pathway on March 31st, 2025. It's a direct PR route specifically for caregivers supporting children, elderly, or individuals with disabilities. It is currently closed, but it will reopen in March 2026. So if you are interested, you need to start preparations now. Now, what is the caregiver route? The caregiver route is called the Home Care Worker Immigration Pilot. So if you are a caregiver and you can take care of younger children, and you have a caregiving certification in taking care of younger children, or you have a caregiver certification in taking care of elderly people, this is another pathway you can use to travel to Canada. Please, somebody is making noise in the background. Please, if your mic is on, I need you to mute it So you can use this pathway to immigrate to Canada. So here is another person thanking us for the caregiver bonus course. So now, but here is the most critical part people are missing. Now, this caregiver pilot has very limited spots. A lot of the times, when the spots are filled, they are gone. The government has announced that they will extend it beyond 26. One thing you should know is that the caregiver route requires a job from Canadian employers, and by the end of the webinar, you will see how exactly you can secure these jobs from Nigeria while others are still wondering what happened. Now, another pathway you can use to get Canadian permanent residency is through the RCIP, the Rural Community Immigration Pilot. Now, the Rural Community Immigration Pilot is a very, very new pathway. It's a very, very new pathway. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot is a very, very new pathway. And one thing about the Rural Community Immigration Pilot is that you are entering Canada with a job offer. You are entering Canada with a job offer, and you also have the opportunity to get your PR. Now, in a lot of provinces, there are a lot of different communities in need of specific skills. So the RCIP pathway gives them an opportunity to go through the skills. So I want right now we'll be taking a break so that we can rejoin. So if you go to the group, because we're having some network issues, if you go to the group, you will see that another link has been posted in the group. So please, I need you to go to the group and click that part, click the link so that we can join and continue the class.
Go. How are you?
Okay, thank you everybody for joining. Let's continue. Let's continue. So, let's continue. So, one thing you can see here is what we call the Rural Community Immigration Pilot. Let me continue sharing my screen. The Rural Community Immigration Pilot. So let's give others time. Okay, so another part we will be talking about here is the rural community immigration pilot. Please mute your mic if you are here, because I believe we have been learning one or two things. So please, I need you to mute your mic so that it doesn't interfere with our presentation this night. So thank you very much. Okay, so let's try to admit more and more people. Okay, so let's continue. Another part where we talk about is rural community immigration pilot. Now, the rural community immigration pilot is a hidden gold mine. Now, in Canada, you have different rural communities. Rural communities, that means villages that are in need of different skilled worker. So the Canadian government created this pathway to solve the needs of those communities. Now, this pathway was created to solve the needs of those communities, the rural communities. You have about 18 rural communities, and each community has a quota or limit. Now, one thing about the rural community immigration pilot is that they have dedicated websites where Canadian employers post jobs that you can easily apply for, and also you can see the what we call the designated employers in these communities, the employers. Now, all what you have to do is that you apply to the designated employer in a particular community, and once you apply to the designated employer, once they give you the employment, they will help you go through the remaining process of getting your community recommendation. Now, if you go to the Canadian government website, you see where we call the rural community immigration pilot website. Now, you see that on this website there are over 18 or over 15 communities here. Now, if you click a particular community, let's say we click on Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Now, this website will immediately take us to the community's website. On the community's website, you can see the different places for employers and where you have the designated employers. Okay, please let me admit people. So let's continue. So you go to the community's website. Now, if I click on here, employers, now you see where they are talking about the different sectors they are in need of, the different priority sectors, the different jobs they are in need of. So these are the priority educations. You have pharmacy technicians, you have general practitioners, you have registered nurses, and psychiatric nurses, you have licensed practical nurses, you have the personal support workers. So these are the different pathways. These are the different job opportunities or different workers they are in need of. So you have social and community service workers, early childhood educators and assistants, you have security guards, supervisors. So these are the different skilled workers they are in need of. So when you also go to that community site, when you go to the community site, let's go back to the Sault Ste. Marie site. When you click here, you go on to where you have designated employers. Now, all these are employers in those communities that you can, in that particular community, that you can apply to, so as to be able to get access to the rural community immigration pilot. So this here is another pathway you can use to apply for Canadian permanent residency. Is another pathway you can use to apply for Canadian permanent residency. So if you go through this page, you will see that on this page alone there are over 20 something employers there. You see there are over 30 something employers there. So these are all employers you can apply for, and once you get the job, the employer helps you process the remaining part of your application, and this processing gives you the opportunity to get access to Canadian permanent residency. So that's another pathway you can use if you do not have a university degree. Now, but here's what is happening right now. A lot of Nigerians that know about these pathways, like when you check about the Express Entry website. So if I can go back to the Express Entry website, now A lot of people say now, if you look at the Express Entry website for Canadian Express Entry, you will see that on November 14 they held draws, November 12 they held draws, November 10 they held draws, October 29 they held draws to give people their permanent residency. So once you look at the website, October 28 they held draws, October 27 they held draws. So if you can look at it, this year, most months of this year, they have been holding draws and people have been getting their permanent residency quietly without other people knowing. So what we are talking about is not something that happened 2-3 months ago. It's something that happened a week ago, that people are still getting their Canada PR as in a short while as a week ago. This draw that was held for healthcare and social service occupations, I know about 8 or 10 people that were able to get their Canada permanent residency for this draw. So a lot of the things we're talking about this night are things that are practically working for people, not things that are working in theory. So if you are so now, this a lot of Nigerians that know about these pathways are quietly applying and getting accepted, while everyone is still trying to figure out express entry and other pathways. Now, if you are starting to understand why timing is everything, I want you to type timing in the comment section. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is the cost breakdown for Canadian permanent residency. If you are applying for Canadian permanent residency, how much are you going to be spending? Now, when it comes to Canada permanent residency, the money you are going to spend at the initial now is divided into two. You are going to spend some money at the beginning of the process, and you are going to spend some money at the confirmation of your process. So what does that mean? What does that mean? You have the pre-ITA part and the post-ITA part. Now, when it comes to the pre-ITA part, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen where I open down the cost breakdown. When it comes to the pre-ITA part, please give me, okay? So when it comes to the pre-ITA part, what are you going to be spending money on? The only thing at the beginning of your process, the only thing you are spending money on is your IELTS, your English language test. These first two, your English language test and the verification of your results, which is the WES verification. Those are the two things you spend money on initially in this process. So you spend money on the English language test and you also spend money on the verification. So to start your process, this is the amount you are going to be spending. Now, every other thing you are spending, which is your biometrics, your medicals, so you pay for the biometrics, you pay for the medicals, you pay for the police reports, you pay for the IRCC processing fee, you pay for the right of residence fee. So every other thing you are going to be spending on this process is after you have gotten your ITA. And a lot of the times, at the ITA post, you have been confirmed for permanent residency. All what you just need to do at that point in time is show proof that a lot of the documents I submitted when I was applying for permanent residency, a lot of the documents I submitted are legitimate. So if you tell them that, oh, I have a sibling in Canada, you have to show documents that prove that. If you tell them that on my English language test I got 8/9, you submit your documents that prove that. So at the beginning of your application, you are only paying for these two things, which is the IELTS language test and the WES verification. And to apply and submit all your details is free. Then the remaining part of the payment will be done once you have been confirmed for permanent residency. That is when you make the remaining part of the payment. So if you have a biro, you can write it down, you can screenshot it on your screen so that you see the total cost breakdown for what you'll be spending for this process. Now, for the PMP process, you are going to be paying making a lot of the payments in the first table. But something about the PMP process is that for the PMP process, each province has a fee that you will pay to them. So these are the fees for the different provinces. So you pay for Ontario. So if you are applying for Ontario, for British Columbia, for Alberta, for Manitoba, for Saskatchewan, for Nova Scotia or Newfoundland, for Nova Scotia or Newfoundland, you don't pay any fee. To apply for the PMP process is free. So that is something that people can always take advantage of for New Brunswick, for Prince Edward Island, and for Yukon. But the majority of the amount you are going to be spending for this whole process is this amount here. And at this point in time, the amount is even lower because when we calculated this, we used an exchange rate of 1,300 naira to $1 Canadian, but the exchange rate I think is about 1,200 and something. So most of these prices have even dropped down. Now, so this is the amount you'll be spending for the PMP process. Now, another thing you will need is the proof of funds. So now, the proof of funds depends on the number of people in the family. If you are applying for now, the proof of funds amount is universal. So you are paying the same proof of funds for express entry and also for PMP. So if you are applying for express entry, one person, you are going to be paying 14,690 Canadian dollars. If you are applying for two people, that means there's a main applicant and a dependent. So your husband and wife are applying at the same time. This is the amount they are going to be paying. So based on it, if you are now applying for three people, maybe a family of three, you'll be paying 22,483,000 Canadian dollars as the proof of funds. If you now have a family of three, then once the number in the family, so when is the family of four, the amount increases to 27,297. When is the family of five is 30,000. When is the family of six is 36,000, 34,000, and when is the family of seven is 38,000. So this is the amount you are going to be paying as the proof of funds based on the amount of people you have in your family. Now, once the family reaches a number of seven, so once maybe there are seven in total in the family, father, mother, and like 5 kids. Now, based on each additional kid, so let's say if the family is now 8, let's say you have 8 kids in the family, so what you are going to be paying will be the amount of 38,875 Canadian dollars plus the 3,958 Canadian dollars as your proof of funds. So for a family of 7, for any extra child you add to that family, you'll be paying an amount of 3,958 Canadian dollars. For the RCIP, the proof of funds is lower for the RCIP. Why? Because the RCIP comes with a job. So for a family of 1, you'll be paying 10,507 Canadian dollars. Then as the family increases, so when it becomes a family of 2, it becomes 13,000, a family of 3, 16,000, a family of 4, 19,000, and this goes down all the way to a family of 7. So for the family of 7, for each additional child you add to that family, you'll be paying, for each additional child you add to that family, you'll be paying 2,831 Canadian dollars as for the proof of funds. So based on this, this is all what you are going to be spending in addition to the proof of funds when you are applying for the Canadian permanent residency. So you pay your language test, your words verification, which is the English language test verification, you do your biometrics. All this money are things you are going to spend no matter the pathway you are applying for. But the truth of the matter is that you are going to be paying only 2 at the beginning. The others you are going to be paid at the ITA process when you have already been confirmed for permanent residency. So if you have not gotten confirmation for permanent residency, the only amount you are going to be paying are these first 2, the IELTS language test and the words verification. Now, another thing we'll be showing you in this webinar is the different checklists for the pathways, because based on the pathways, let's say after checking the different pathways you need, you determine that, okay, I'm going to be going through the RCIP pathway, I'm going to go through the express entry pathway, I'm going to go through the caregiver pathway, or I'm going to go through the PMP pathway. A lot of the times you need the checklist. You need to know what exactly you need to do for each different pathway. So we created a document called the checklist where you can monitor each of the steps you need to take while going through this pathway. Now, if you are going through express entry is a 12-step process. The first thing with express entry is that you check your eligibility. So now, What does it mean to check your eligibility? You use this tool here, what that we call a CRS calculator. It's something you can easily look for on Google. So you use a CRS calculator. You can easily type it on Google. So you use a CRS calculator. You use the calculator to check your score. So you fill in the different details and check your score. Then you now go here, what that we call the round of invitations. You click on the round of invitations. Once you click on the round of invitations, you check the previous round. So if you look at the previous round, the round that was held on November 14, they issued um they issued 3,500 invitations, and the score that was invited was 462. So for instance, now if I'm a healthcare worker and I'm applying for express entry, I know that for me to stand a chance in their next draw, my score has to be around 262. So you are going to be using this CRS calculator to check your score and see what it is and see what you need to do so that your cutoff mark falls around that 462. Once your score is around 462, let's say I'm a healthcare worker and I'm applying for express entry. Once my score is around 462 or higher than 462, the next time the express entry draws are held, I have a very, very high chance of being called. So that's the first thing you do. Then you take your language test, the IELTS or the CELPIP. Then you get your WES, your ECA. That means you submit your university degrees for verification. Then you create your express entry profile. You enter the pool and you receive your CRS score. Then you wait for ITA. So at this point, ITA is basically 70% of the work, because when you get your ITA, you have almost gotten your Canada PR. The only thing that can stop you from getting Canada PR after getting ITA is if you can't prove the documents that you submitted. If you say you had an 8 in IELTS now and you can't prove that you got that score, that is the only thing that can delay you at this ITA point. Then the next thing you do is gather your documents. Then you submit your PR application. You go for your biometric appointment. You wait for processing and updates. You get your PR approval and your confirmation of permanent residency, and then you land in Canada. So if you are applying through the express entry profile, this is the 12th step you need to follow to get your Canadian permanent residency and land in Canada. Now, for those of us that are going through the RCIP step, now for the RCIP checklist, so the RCIP checklist, the first thing you do is you confirm your eligibility. So you have to, so when you go to the different communities, like here, when you go to the different communities and you go through the jobs, so let's say I'm in Sault Ste. Marie. Now if you look at Sault Ste. Marie's website, you have what you call the eligibility criteria. So now you must make sure that you fulfill this eligibility criteria. You check the level of job they want. So what skill level do they want? What must be included in your job offer? What English language score must you? So if you look at it, you see the language requirements. So you see all the proficiency requirements here on the website. So the first thing you do is you check your eligibility, then you take the English language test, then you check the participating community. So you can easily go here. If you go to this, you can just check for this on Google. All these things are searchable on Google. So when you go on Google, you can type RCIP Canada. Let me go back. You go to Google, you type RCIP Canada, you click here, and then you click on get a job offer. When you click on get a job offer, you can see all the different communities in Canada. So you click on this particular community called Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. So you go to the community's website, and then in the community's website, you look at the employer. So you have the designated employers. So you can, for instance, now this is okay, let's say this is Meadow Park. Okay, let's say, okay, let me look for, okay, so this is RF contracting. Let's say I'm a contractor, I'm a mechanical engineer, and when you see contracting, most of the time contracting jobs are site jobs that might require a mechanical engineer. So I can easily type for RF Contracting Ontario on their website, RF Contracting Ontario. Then I go into their website. So you can see RF Contracting into their website. Then in their website, when you go down, so you can see these people, they do on-site jobs. When you see their on-site jobs, so they might be in need of um, um, they might be in need of mechanical engineers, and I'm a mechanical engineer. So what do? I can easily contact them. I copy this email, then go to my Gmail and send the message to them. All these processes are very, very simple. You tell them, oh, I'm coming to apply through the RCIP process. I want to know the different um, opportunities that are available and if I can apply for them. So if you are someone that is very, very determined, you can go to the different communities and their website and apply to as many as possible. All you just need to do is search for the website on Google and then apply to different designated employers in different communities. At the end of the day, all what you need is just one acceptance. All what you need is one acceptance. So that is how you go through. So that is how you apply for the job offer when it comes to the RCC process. So after you get the job offer in the community, you prepare your documents, you apply for community recommendation. This sixth step of applying for community recommendation is not actually going to be done by you. It is going to be done by the employer. So a lot of the times, this applying for community recommendation, that step is taken care of by the employer. Then after that, you receive your community recommendation letter, you apply to IRCC for PR, you provide your biometrics and medicals, you wait for your background and security check, then you receive your confirmation of permanent residency and your PR visa. So that's the checklist for those that are going through the RCIP process. Now, please, if your mic is, I believe that we are learning a lot of things this night. So if your mic is currently, if your mic is on, please mute it because the noise can be disturbing. We're still going to have the chance to ask questions. So another one is the caregiver checklist. So if you want to apply for the caregiver pathway, the first thing is you check your eligibility, you take the language tests, then you get your ICA. You have to verify your caregiver certificate because you are not just going to come with word of mouth that you are a caregiving instructor. You have to show them proof that yes, I've actually been working in the caregiver pathway. So I wanted to go back to mute the person whose voice I was hearing. So then what's the next thing you do? You secure your valid caregiver job offer, just the same way I showed you before. You gather your supporting documents, you submit your work permit plus PR application, you provide your biometrics and medicals. But one thing about the caregiver pathway is that it's different from other pathways before, because for the caregiver pathway, you have to work in Canada for 24 months. If you don't have any prior experience in Canada, you work in Canada for 24 months, then you submit your proof of Canadian experience, then you submit your proof of Canadian experience, then you wait for your decision and PR issuance. So that is for those that want to go through the caregiver pathway. This checklist is one of the best documents we have because it shows you the step-by-step process you need to just run your application yourself from beginning to the end. So you know at this point, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. Now, if you are going through the PMP, so for the PMP, the first thing you do is that you check the different provinces. So you check the different provinces or territories. So in Canada, there are different provinces or territories. So you check, so you have to go. All these things are things that you can, if you have the checklist, you can easily check them on Google. So you check different provinces in Canada. So once I see different provinces in Canada, so you have the different provinces in Canada. So provinces and territories of Canada, you can check them. So you have Ontario, you have Saskatchewan, you have Newfoundland. So you check the different provinces in Canada. If you go through the price, I think we listed it here in the price when we talk about the price. So we listed the different provinces Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Yukon. But Yukon's PMP is quite difficult to apply, so it's better you go for the others. So, for instance, now the first thing you do is that you check the you choose your province or territory. So you can go for Ontario PNP, something that so Ontario PNP is called OINP. So this is the website here. Now, this website is where you check the different options available. This website is also where you apply for so you can check the different streams. You can check how to apply. All the information you need is here. So once you check the different provinces and you see what matches you, then you check your eligibility for choosing province. Now you have to check the requirements. So whichever stream you are going through, whichever PMP stream you are going through, you have to check the requirement for that stream. After you check the requirement, the next thing you do is you take your language test. That's the next thing you do. You take your language test. Then after that, you apply for provincial nomination. Then the next thing you do is that you receive your provincial nomination. Now, if you are applying for express entry already, once you have gotten your provincial nomination, you can add it to your express entry application. It will give you 600 extra points. So most of the times when people are doing PMP, you can do PMP and express entry together. So you just use to supplement each other. Then after that, you get an ITA. So once you have gotten your ITA, you gather your required documents. Like I said, the ITA is where you are going to be making most of the payments. So after getting ITA, because the ITA is the same thing as getting a visa, all what you just have to do is proof that you have the documents you told them you did when you are creating your profile. So you gather your required documents, you submit your application, you do your biometrics and medicals, then you wait for background and security checks. One thing you have to be careful is that when you are applying, you have to make sure that everything you said you had, you show it. You have to show them that you have these things. If you show them something you don't have, it can be very, very detrimental. Then you wait for your background and security checks, and then you receive your confirmation of permanent residency. So those are the checklists for the different pathways into Canada. So those are the checklists for the different. Now, the next thing we are going to be talking about this night is the age barrier bypass strategy. Now, the age issue is one issue that I see that makes different set of people run away from applying for permanent residency. A lot of times, people always complain that I am too old. I can't apply for express entry. Now, if you are too old, let's say you are in your late 30s to 40s, the first thing you have to do is to make sure that you score high in your language tests. No matter the pathway you are applying for, when you are entering your late 30s or 40s, your language test has to be maxed out. That means that you have to get a 90% in your language test. Now, the next thing you have to do is that you get complete higher education or ECA for multiple degrees. Now, for this, most people that are older, I advise them to verify their results through a different portal that we call ICAS. So there are different portals for verifying your result. The most popular one is WES. So you verify your result through ICAS. Why do you verify it through ICAS? If you have an HND, ICAS will equate that HND to a bachelor's degree. So if you have a master's, ICAS will boost. So ICAS will give you a higher point than verifying it through WES. Now, another thing is that you gain more work experience, more skilled work experience. If you are younger, you can tell the Canadian government, because most of the times the amount of work experience they need is just 1 year or 2 years. So you have to max out your work experience. If they're asking for 3 years, you tell them you have 5 years or more work experience. So you max out your work experience. Another thing you can do is that you can write the French proficiency for bonus points. A lot of the times, most Canadian pathways accept 2 language tests. They accept English and French. So if you are older, you can submit both English and French exam, because those two will give individual points, and you can use that to max out your points. Another thing you can do if you are older is that you can go for what we call age reduction. But mind you, age reduction is for somebody who has never been to Canada before. So if you have never applied for a work visa, you have never made any application to the Canadian government, you can go for what we call age reduction. You can apply to officially reduce your age here in your NIN age and your passport age. You reduce your age legally here. A lot of times you have people in their 40s reduce their age to the early 30s so that they can max out their score. So that is another thing you can use to bypass the limits the Canadian government place on age. But this age reduction is only applicable for people that have never applied to Canada in any way or form before. Another thing you can do is that you can include your spouse with your application. So a lot of the times when you include your spouse with your application, they give you points and they will also give your spouse points. So another thing you can do if age is not on your side is that you can include your spouse in your application. So this is everything we said we are going to cover. So we talked about the different pathways, then we talked about the cost, what you are going to be spending, we talked about the checklist for the different pathways, and the last thing we talked about is how to bypass the age restrictions. Now I know what is going through your mind right now. You might be thinking that what we have talked about sounds too good to be true now, and you might have certain worries. Now, the first worry you might have is that, am I sure I would not make mistakes during the application? One thing you have to do is that you don't have to worry. We have created a detailed step-by-step practical guide. You have seen the checklist. You have seen that we have created a checklist for you that you can use to guide you through your whole application process. And you have also seen that we have given you a cost breakdown, so you know what you are spending, and you know how to plan around it so that you can easily strategize your application. So we have prepared a detailed step-by-step practical guide on every pathway, as well as a mentorship group where we hold sessions together every week to address questions or challenges you might be facing during your application. Now, please, you are raising your hand. We will still answer questions. We have a question and answering section, so please just wait. So another thing is that you might be thinking that you don't have money. Now, the truth is that the money spent on your application, the truth is that most of the money is spent when your application is confirmed. So I always advise you to start first. Like I've said, most of the money you are spending is at the ITA process. So at the ITA process, you have already been confirmed as eligible for permanent residency at that ITA point. So when you get to that ITA point, they have confirmed that, okay, we want to give this person permanent residency. All this person has to do is prove that they did not submit any fake documents. So at that point in time, you have been confirmed. That point is when you are going to be spending 90% of the money. If you know that, okay, I'm going into Canada tomorrow, I've gotten my permanent residency, and they tell you that spend so amount, I don't think that most of us we will do whatever running around we can to raise money, because we know that at the end of the day, it's not as if we are raising money for something that is uncertain. We are raising money for something certain, because we know that at the end of the day, after paying most of this money, we are going to be landing in Canada. And that's one thing that makes this process very good. During the process of opening your profile, registering, everything, you are doing all that for free. And even the money you are spending at the beginning, the IELTS, the WES verification, you are not paying that money to the Canadian government. You are paying that money to external bodies. Most of the money you are spending at the process of when you are at the point of getting your permanent residency. So my advice to people is that start first, take care of the meager bills at the beginning, and prepare yourself for that point in time when they confirm you as someone eligible to get permanent residency. Another fear is that you are too old. Like I said, I gave you 5 or 6 steps you can use to bypass the age factor. A lot of people in their 40s and 50s still easily get permanent residency. It's all about knowing what to do. So, why was this training created? The reason why we created this training is because we have seen the damage from the inside. I've watched too many dreams get crushed by greed and misinformation, and I can only help you if you let me. But here is what this system does. This system saves you money. For those that cannot afford an agent, it saves you money by giving you all the tools you need to undo your application. Everything you need is in one place. It protects you from scams, it gives you step by step guidance that prevents you from falling victims to fraudsters I've seen operate. Another thing this system does is that it prevents you from making costly mistakes. You get templates and systems that eliminate errors I've witnessed destroy applications. Another thing is that it gives you a clear roadmap. You get a clear roadmap that removes the confusion agents deliberately create to keep you dependent. Another thing is that you understand the system. For those who might not have the time to handle the applications themselves, because some of us are too busy to handle applications themselves, it gives you a good understanding of the Canadian immigration systems in a way that no other blueprint will give you. So you understand the different pathways. You see the different opportunities available to people, and you also know that it is available for you. So now, from everything you have seen now, you understand the different pathways, you have seen the different opportunities, you know that this thing is possible for people just like you. Now the question is not whether it works. You have seen the evidence that it works. Now, for my years in the industry, the question is, with all the information we have given to you this night, what are you going to do with this information? This is a process that costs, that at the beginning you are not spending as much as other processes are going to cost you. Most of what you are spending is when your visa is at the stage of confirmation. So what are you going to do with this information? You have three choices right now. You do nothing and stay exactly where you are while opportunities pass you by, trying to figure this out yourself, and you risk making the same costly mistakes I've witnessed hundreds of times. Or you let me give you the exact blueprint that has already worked for hundreds of Nigerians like you. Now, if you choose option 3, so at this point in this webinar, I'm going to be selling to you at this point in time. So now, if you choose option 3, here's exactly what you get. Before I tell you what is included, let me put this in perspective. For my time working with agencies, I know what they charge. A single consultation with an immigration lawyer costs 50,000 naira, just the consultation, not the actual help. Most agents will charge you between 700,000 to 1.2 million for what I'm about to give you, and they do not even guarantee results. So at this point in time, you know what you are getting. So what will you be getting in this complete system we are giving to you this night? The first thing you'll be getting is the Practical Canadian Permanent Resident Guide, where you get a step-by-step recording of every single step. You master all the PR pathways. You get the detailed CRS calculation and insider acts. You get the step-by-step West credential setup with zero confusion or delays. You get a done-for-you express entry profile creation guide that virtually guarantees approval. Another thing you get is the Canadian Job Fast Track, how to position yourself for high-demand Canadian jobs for Nigeria without needing a university certificate, the standard Canadian CV makeover, the exclusive access to a database of 500 plus live Canadian job listings. You get the IELTS mastery secrets. You get exclusive IELTS training on question types, scoring secrets, and insider tricks that examiners do not want to know. You get proven strategies to ace all 4 sections without spending years studying. Then you get the Caregiver Success Blueprint, the complete caregiver certification course recognized by Canadian employers. It includes licensing guide and application support, direct pathway to the new 2026 Canadian Caregiver Pilot Program. You get the reference letter advantage. Most of the times, if you are applying without a university degree, what you need is a reference letter. So you get the reference letter advantage, IRCC compliance, reference letters that boost your CRS and avoid application delays, backdated reference letters from recognized institutions, NOC matching job duties, and employer request scripts that actually work. Now, everything you are getting in this training has a cost of 550,000 naira. But let me ask you something. If the complete package guaranteed that you'll be living in Canada with your family within the next 12 months, would 550,000 naira be
Una
worth
chicken
it?
burger.
If everything here guaranteed, please, I need you to mute your mic. Please, I need you to mute your mic.
Entered under the bed. Has entered under the bedside. Cannot see it again.
Wow. Thank you. So, if everything here guaranteed that you'll be you'll be living in Canada with your family within the next 12 months, would 550,000 naira be worth it? Now, of course it would, because that money is something that you will earn back in less than, it's not even in less than a month, in less than weeks of Canadian wages. In less than weeks of Canadian wages, do you know the exchange rate? What you earn in 2 weeks will be more than 550,000 naira that you are going to be paying for all these things. But the truth of the matter is that I'm not going to charge 550,000 naira. I'm not even going to charge you half of this. Normally, if you went to my sales page, you will see that you would pay 100,000 naira for the basic Canadian PR guide without any of the bonuses you just saw. But because you have invested your time with me, because you are proving you are serious about changing your life, and because I remember exactly what it felt like to watch people get exploited by the industry, I'm going to be doing something that my business partners think is crazy. So I'm going to be giving you everything, the complete 550,000 naira system for just 40,000 naira. This is not a typo, just 40,000 naira. Think about it. You would pay an agent 700,000 to hire a professional agent that might disappear with your money, but everything I'm going to be giving you for just 40,000 naira. With some of the things that you have seen, the checklists, the amounts, and every other thing, I've actually given you the tools that you need to apply for the different pathways that you need. All what you just need to do is to do your own research. But the truth is that if you want step-by-step guidance, because once you pay the 40,000, you are going to be added to our mastery group. So in that mastery group, we are going to be holding sessions every week where we'll be giving you one-on-one guidance through your application process. So we are basically going to hold your hand through the application process from start to finish. If that's something that you want, this is another thing. The money you are going to be paying is going to give you an opportunity to. So you would spend 50,000 naira on just consultation fees. A lot of the times when you go and meet agents, just to consult them to get a quarter or 1/10 of the information I've given you this night, you pay just 50,000 naira. But that will lead you nowhere. And this 40,000 we're asking you to pay is what you would use to buy a pair of decent shoes. You understand me? But with the amount we're asking you to pay, you can get everything you need to change your life forever. It's something that if you start working on it now, it is very, very possible for you to be in Canada by early next year or middle next year if you are able to get most of these requirements. So now, this special price that we're going to be giving will expire in exactly 72 hours. That means in 3 days. After that, the price returns to the normal 50,000, and that is without any of the bonuses. But here is another thing. I'm also going to be giving another offer. For the first 10 people that take action this night, you'll be getting access to the exclusive VIP bonuses. So they will get, the first thing they will get is the PASA PR application review. So I will sit down with you, get on a call with you, and help you review all your documents and everything you need. And I'll also help you select the right PR pathway, because like I said at the beginning of the webinar, a lot of the times when applying for Canada permanent residency, the major thing there is knowing the right pathway for yourself. Once you know the right pathway, once you have the knowledge of the right pathway to choose, you would easily, the process will be simplified and broken down for you, because you are applying to something that has worked for people similar to you. So you will get on a one-on-one call where I will personally review your PR documents. Another thing is that I will help you get a recommendation letter, especially if you are applying for the skilled pathways, the PMP pathways, the RCIP pathway, and the caregiver pathway. So I personally help you get a recommendation letter from one of the institutions we partner with, and that recommendation letter is going to really help smoothen the process of your application. So here's another testimonial from someone that went through the caregiver bonus course. So thank you so much for the caregiver bonus because it has given me confidence to approach employers. So when these bonuses are gone, they are gone forever. And here is something else. The Canadian government is reviewing immigration policies for this coming 2026. So what is available today might not be available tomorrow. And one thing you need to do is that when it comes to immigration, you need to act fast. Because like I said before, a lot of the times when I give people information, the major response I hear from them is that if I knew about this thing so years back, I would not be in this point here. I would not be here now. I would not be here if I knew about it. Because a lot of the times, most of them go and spend hundreds of millions, or you hear people spending borrowing amounts of money. You have the Canada PR pathway that everything you are going to be spending from the beginning to the end of the application is just 3 million. That 3 million, you cannot use it to apply for study or for work. No, a lot of the times, just for work, you'll be paying just to help you process it. The agent will be asking you for 15 million naira. I was online today and I saw for France 90 days visa. That is, you stay in France for 3 months and they're charging 15 million naira. And people are paying. What about to study in Canada? Even after studying in Canada, most people go to study in Canada because they want to stay in Canada, not just because they want to go to school. You go to study, you spend 20, 30, 40 million naira just because you want to study in Canada. And after you study, you now have to come back and now apply for Canada permanent residency. But with the information we are giving to you, you can apply for it directly from Nigeria there. Go over to Canada with peace of mind, because when you get permanent residency, it's just like being a citizen there. You can come and move as you want. You can live anywhere you want. You have all the freedom to yourself. So a lot of these policies are being reviewed by the Canadian government. What is available today might not be available tomorrow, and this could be your last chance to access these pathways at current requirement, because policies change almost every year. Now, one thing I'm guaranteeing you this night is that this system will transform your life, and I can give you a guarantee that if you get the complete system, you follow the step-by-step instructions, you use the templates and tools provided, and you are not completely ready to submit your Canada PR application in 90 days, I will personally refund every single naira. No questions asked, no hassles, no hoops to drum through. You literally cannot lose at this point in time. It's either you get everything you need to relocate to Canada, or you get your money back. All the risks here is on me. Now, the choice is yours, and this moment to define your future. You can allow everything you have learned in this webinar to become just another interesting video you watch, or you can take the action that changes everything. Now, let me ask you this question. How much are your dreams worth to you? How much is it to wake up? How much is it worth to wake up in a country where your hard work is required? How much is it worth to give your children opportunities you never had? How much is it worth to never worry again about fuel scarcity, electric bills, or security? How much is it worth to live with dignity and hope? 40,000 naira is what some people spend on a weekly outing that will give you entertainment, but I'm asking you to pay this amount to transform your family's life. Your family is counting on you. Your future self is watching this moment. Don't let them down. So for those that are ready to take action, here are the payment instructions on the screen. And remember, for the first 10 people, we are going to be, for the first 10 people to make payment, we are going to be, for the first 10 people to make payment, we're going to be giving the special bonuses to them. So at this point in time, we'll be opening up the webinar to ask questions. So here, we have finally come to the question and answer section of the webinar. We have come to the question and answer section of the webinar. I can see that throughout the time I was talking, some people were asking questions, but I'm going to be calling some people for questions. So I'm going to be calling them by their tags. So the first person I'm going to be calling is Hope. Hope, please, if I call you, you can unmute your mic to ask questions. Hope, are you here? I think the tag they gave you was 001. Hello, do you have any questions? Okay. What about Francis Usman 002? Do you have any questions? So the price for the mentorship is about 40,000 naira, and yeah, the payment instructions on the screen. So, okay, I will see Gabriela. Do you have questions? If you have questions, please ask. Omini James. Okay. Gift Senewu, do you have questions? 005. Okay. Oluwabumi Akindaunsi, do you have questions? 006. Okay. Oyewale Adewumi, do you have questions? Please, if I'm calling your name and you have questions, unmute your mic and ask. Sarah Oyene, do you have questions? Okay, so please, if you ask questions, unmute your mic and ask questions, please. Someone raised up their hand that they wanted to ask a question. Please ask your question.
Okay. Yes, my question is all these routes that you talked about, do we have to write IELTS?
Depends on the pathway, but yes, you need IELTS.
And what's the score?
Well, the score depends on the
score is perfect.
It depends on the pathway. If you are applying for express entry, you will need a high score, 8. If you are applying for the RCIP, you don't need a high score. PMP, you also need a high score, but the caregiver pathway, you would need like a band 4 or 5.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I dropped my questions in the chat box. I don't know if you could respond.
Just say it since you already dropped it. You can still say it.
Okay, you said you are 50, a single mother, and have applied and been to Canada before. What are your chances? Well, yeah, your chances are high. So your chances are high. You can get Canada permanent residency. Even though you have been to Canada before, there are still ways around the age issue. So you have the French exams, you have the work experience, and you can also apply to other specific pathways. You don't necessarily need to go through express entry. You can apply to other specific pathways. So yes, even with your age, you still have a very good chance of getting permanent residency.
Okay, sir. Concerning the caregiver pathway, how can one get the job from, like, as a foreigner from outside Canada? Because I think the pathway only applies to people in Canada.
No, when the Canadian government opened it this year, it was open for just people in Canada, but it's going to be open again in March 2026. You understand me? Now, one thing about the home care worker immigration pilot is that there are 2 ways. The first way is that you can work for an institution that takes care of the elderly. Another way that you can go about it is that it works for people that are coming to Canada to take care of children. So one way I always talk about is that if you have relatives in Canada with younger children, you can tell them to apply as employers for this pathway, and they can use that to employ you over here in Nigeria. Do you get what I'm saying, please? So
yes, sir.
They can use that to employ you over here in Nigeria. So they are going to act as employers there. So the pathway is for 2 people taking care of elderly and taking care of young children. So families can apply for their relations here in Nigeria and position that relation as somebody coming over there to take care of their kids. That is one way you can apply for this pathway. Or another thing is that you can look for institutions in Canada, caregiving centers in Canada that take care of the elderly, and you can apply directly to them. That's another way you can also do this.
Okay. Then you made mention of verifying our certificates and evaluating the caregiving certificates. We have some people like in Nigeria that have done trainings and even currently work there. But those certificates are usually 3 months, maximum of 6 months. So how can West or any of those evaluating companies evaluate such certificates?
Yes, their ways is evaluated. But one thing you have to make sure you are doing is that when you are applying for all these certifications, you have to make sure that the certifications are gotten from well recognized institutions. That's one of the things you have to ensure when applying for them. Make sure that your certificates, because a lot of the fact is that nobody is going to give you a caregiving job if your certificate does not match their standards. Are you following me? They are going to check the certifications that you submitted because they have to employ somebody that is up to their standards. Do you get what I'm saying, ma? Please.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
your results are going to be verified. Every certification you submit is going to be verified. That one is a given. Just make sure that whatever you are submitting is in line. Whatever company is issuing that certificate for you is a company whose certification is recognized in Canada. That's what I normally advise students.
Okay, so I'm so sorry to take you back a bit. I'm asking because or what from your own expertise, what would you recommend for us when it comes to the training? Because I have somebody that we did training together. She had an opportunity to travel to Canada, but it's funny how she couldn't even get a job with that certificate and
Okay.
everything. So she had to still go back to school to do PSW again, which she's doing now. So I wanted to know how can or which institution in Nigeria is that credible when it comes to them.
And there are many institutions here in Canada. There are many institutions here in Nigeria. There are institutions we partner with and work with. You understand me? So you can always drop a message and then we'll send you the list of institutions I recommend.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to be leaving this space now and we're going to be going to another space where all we're going to be doing is answering questions. So my assistant will post the link on the group so you can join. So for the next hour or so, I'm going to be answering your questions. Is that okay? So anybody that asks,
Yes, I have a question. Oh, I have
yes,
a
yes.
question.
Join that link. She will post it on the group now. Join it. Let's answer questions because I know that after today's class, a lot of us have questions. So join that link now to answer questions.
So please, can we begin asking the questions?
Yes, you can start asking the questions. Why more people join?
Right. So, I want to ask, can you apply through multiple pathways at a time, or you have to pick one pathway to apply at a time?
Yes, you can apply through multiple pathways at a time, but the major thing about applying through multiple pathways is that you have to be careful. You must not put contradicting information. Are you following me?
Yes.
You must not put contradicting information. So if you're applying through different pathways, you must make sure that what you said when you're applying for RCIP is the same thing as what you are saying when you're applying for express entry. It's the same thing as what you are saying when you're applying for PMP. So the information you put everywhere must match. That's just it.
All right. Then again, I want to ask, what way will be better? So I'm looking to get married soon, right? would it be better if I apply now or to apply when I'm already married, that and my
How
spouse may be
soon
able
are you
to?
getting married so that we know when to come and eat rice? How soon are you getting married?
The information will reach at the right time. So I just need the information first of all.
Because it depends on how soon, you understand me. And do you want to move with your spouse?
Yes.
So if you want to move with your spouse, then it's best that you wait till when you are married. You get me? So both of you will just apply together.
Okay. Then again, from what you have explained, right? Say we're doing the PNP or something. Do you have to wait to get your recommendation letter before you join the express entry pool?
The RCIP is a different. Okay, for the PMP, you need the recommendation letter when applying if you are doing the PMP. You understand me? Because most of the time, for skilled work, when you are telling the Canadian government I have so skill, I have this skill, I have that skill, they always need proof of it. And one way to prove that your work experience in that skill is by submitting a reference letter. So yes, you need the reference letter, but you will need it
No,
when.
I mean, you said something about the province community recommendation.
Okay, the recommendation. Okay. So now, what you will get is a recommendation letter from the community. So when you get the job, then the company will now forward your job details to the community. So the community will now issue a recommendation letter. That recommendation letter you get from the community is now what you will now use to apply for the Canada PR.
Okay, so basically, if you get a job offer from maybe the PNP or RICP or whatever.
No, this is for the RCIP. For the RCIP. So once you get the job offer, then they will submit it to the community. Then the community will issue a recommendation letter to you. You understand me?
Okay, sorry. So to understand you, RCIP and PNP are two different pathways,
Yes,
right?
there are two different pathways. But
If
both-
you get a job, whether in the PNP or RICP, don't you still need a recommendation letter from the province?
No.
or
It's only for
community?
the RCIP you need a recommendation letter. For the province, you don't
Okay,
need.
so
You don't need a recommendation, and for the province, you don't need a job. You understand me?
okay,
For PMP, you don't need a job. When you need a job is when you are applying for RCIP. But for PMP, you don't need a job.
all right. So say this province nominates me now. I can just go ahead and apply for permanent residency directly. I don't need to be in the I don't need to do express entry.
Yes, for PMP, there are two ways of doing PMP. So the first way is what we call the active way and the passive way. So if you get PMP, you can decide to use that PMP to support your express entry application, or you can just apply through directly. But the problem is that if you apply directly without express entry, your PMP is going to take like 12 months. You understand me? But if you if you use your PMP to support your express entry application, then it could take as little as 2 months or a month.
All right, so it will be best if I start do an express entry first, and then I also then apply for a PNP to support
so
my
you do
express
both
entry
of them
profile.
together.
Okay.
Remember I said something like that. You don't do them
Yeah.
separately. You do both of them. You do express entry and PMP. You tie them together.
Okay. All right. I think that's the majority of my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Hello. Yeah. Hi. Good day. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. So, okay. So I just want to ask, right? Because I am new, right, to some of these processes. So basically, I'm a software engineer, right?
Okay.
Have had my first degree in biochemistry and had a PhD in theater arts. So so the question is this, right? From your wealth of experience, okay, and of course I'm a software, like I said, I'm a software engineer. I have like years of experience, of over 3 years of experience. So from your wealth of experience, what pathway would you recommend for me?
How old are you?
I'm 33.
Go for express entry.
All right. Okay. So I was talking with someone, and then the person said that, and the person said that I would need a master's, to be able to boost my like if I want to do express entry, that I would need like a master's degree, to be able to boost it up and boost up my score, because of I think she talked about my age, and so she was saying that I would need a master's in the health, because of course I already had first degree in biochemistry, so he wanted a master's in like biochemistry so that it would be health, that health would be better for me and would be easier, right? Like a master's in a health related sector. So how true is that?
Yes, it's true to a degree, because if you check the last healthcare job was 461. You understand me? But now the masters you would need will be dependent on your CRS score. You get me?
Okay.
It will be dependent on your CRS score. That's the truth. The masters you need will be dependent on your CRS score.
All right. Sorry, remind me what CRS is again. I'm so sorry. Please, can you just remind me?
So you need to check your CRS score. You get me? You will need to check your CRS score. A lot of the time is that. Let me share my screen. So you go here. You see what they said, calculate your. So if you're applying for express entry, you see calculate your CRS score. So you say you want to go through the healthcare routes. Okay, so can you see my screen? Everyone see my screen?
No, I can't see your screen.
Okay, let me show you my screen.
That's your website screen, not
yes. Not the page, not the payment page. So let's say you enter here, you calculate your CRS score. Sorry, please. You calculate your CRS score, so you check here. You calculate your CRS score, so you calculate your score. Now, so this is what you use to calculate your score. So you just fill in all the details here. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Then, after calculating your score, you now go to what I call, can you see my screen? The round of invitations. So if you look at, you now look for when they did the healthcare draw. So when they did the healthcare draw, what was the last score? The last score, you see, healthcare and social services on November 14. The last score was 462. Are you following?
Yes.
So you have to make sure that, so even if you calculate your score with your BSc and you're getting 462, you don't need to worry. So the only time you'll be worried is when you calculate your score with a BSc and you are not able to reach this cutoff point. Are you following?
Yeah.
So it's far more than just what would I say? It's far more than just getting the BSc. You have to go use the calculator, calculate your score, see what your score is, and now compare. Do you get me?
Yeah, I do. Okay, but what if I want to go with what's it called? Like my career as a tech person.
Yes.
If I want to,
okay. There's this province I was checking yesterday, Alberta. Alberta has an IT tech pathway for PMP. It used to be very popular some years back, but like a year, 2 years ago, it used to be very popular. Lots of people migrated through that, but it's no longer as popular. So each year they have about 200 this thing. So you can search for that Alberta province and apply for that tech pathway. Do you get me?
Yeah, I get you.
So you can do underground work and check the different provinces. Look for provinces that require people in the tech field and then apply through those pathways. So one of them, I've already given you, one of them is Alberta. So you can go to the Alberta PMP site and apply for their tech specific PMP pathway. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yeah, it does. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, please. I have a question. Good evening. I have a question.
Okay. Before we continue the question, look at the
Okay. Good evening.
the
Thank
account
you
number
for
is
the
on the screen.
insight.
So make payment so that you can join our mentorship. We will be able to give you more help. Okay, ask your question, please.
Okay. Please, my question is on the I am actually looking at the healthcare routes, you understand, because my first degree is on that area, I did biology. So, but I want to migrate into the healthcare fully. So looking at that healthcare route, I've already done my WES earlier this year. So I've done my WES, which I'm planning to write my IELTS by next month, hopefully. But my problem here is the age,
Like I said, ma,
the age, and the certificate, because I am not actually working in the health sector. I'm doing something different. But because of this, I've been doing a kind of a volunteer work in a hospital around my locales, which they issue certificate. They have also given me the certificate, but looking at the way it is now, that certificate is not internationally recognized. So I don't know if you can recommend
Yes, ma'am.
anyone
that's
that will be
one thing.
accepted for that purpose.
That's one thing. That's one thing we will do.
Sorry?
When you join the mentorship, we will recommend specific organizations here in Nigeria that will give you internationally recognized certificates, because that's one of the mistakes people make. You understand me? You go to one school somewhere, you submit certificates to them, they will reject it because they don't recognize it. They can't guarantee that the training you went to is up to their standards. You understand me, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we'll do. We have a host of them that we work with and give to our students, so that when we even have an institution that we give you, they will train you here and they will give you a US based certification. So when you carry that type of certification to a Canadian employer, they are not doubting the legitimacy of your training.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So join our mentorship to find out more. So for any other
Good
questions?
evening. Good evening. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I just want to ask. You did talk about the education pathway or early childhood pathway. I
Okay,
know you
okay.
emphasized on
Yes, I talked
healthcare.
about the early childhood pathway. The early childhood
Okay.
pathway is not a specific route you apply for. You understand me? So you can apply for
Okay.
early childhood through PMP. You can apply for the education route through Express Entry, any of them. But it's not a specific pathway on its own that you have to talk about differently.
Oh, okay.
But if you want
So
more,
it has to.
but there are particular things that you must do when applying for these pathways. So let's say if you're applying for the early education pathway, there are particular things you must do. There are particular things you must have when applying for those pathways. Because one major thing is that you must learn how to position yourself right. Because you are not applying for it specifically. It's the Canadian government that will search it out by themselves and say, based on what this person submitted, they are eligible for this route. So there are specific things that you must do to make sure that you are eligible for that pathway. But it's not a separate thing we talk about. So you can join the mentorship so that you learn more about all these things. That's one of the things we give people. Step-by-step information.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Coach Dan. Coach Dan. So I posted a question on the chat. I think I just got. So most of the you have set up like the mechanics and are the typical field here in Nigeria, right? and
Yes.
there's some opportunity for that. So I'm wondering, those that are like the graduates, the skilled workers that we call skilled, what are the pathways? I don't there are pathways, all the
What are the pathways available for what, ma?
for migration
For
to migrate for those that are like the skilled workers here in Nigeria, like graduates that have masters or something that are maybe not IT, maybe not health. I mean the administrative segment.
okay, ma.
Uh,
There are a lot of pathways available. There are different pathways available for that. You understand me? But the thing is that you need a very specific answer. Do you get me, ma? Because during the course I talked about some of them. And that specific answer will be based on what you have. I will have to review your documents and everything. You understand me, ma?
okay.
To check which pathway is best for you. So, to everybody, for all these specific answers, you can check the webinar to see some of the pathways. But if you want specific answers, I want you to just join the mentorship. Then you get on the call. I review all your documents. I will pick out the best pathway for you. Send the checklist so that we can start your application immediately. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Any other questions? So, Michi Beauty Lounge, have you joined the mentorship? You asked a question. Is she here? Any other question? Hello? Any other person?
I'm sorry, yes. I just wanted to ask, right, for the PNP, what's like what's the most acceptable criteria for them to give you a nomination?
What's the most acceptable criteria for them to give you a nomination for the PNP?
Yes, like what do you need to almost guarantee a nomination from a province?
Have you joined the mentorship?
No, sir.
Because the question you're asking is a question that if I answer, I will give a lot of Hello?
I'm here.
Yes, there are specific things you must do. You understand?
Okay,
me?
maybe we should just streamline it down to like the healthcare sector, because that's where I'm in.
Okay. There are specific things you must do to guarantee your nomination. And one thing about the PNP is that the PNP is a route that can waste your time. Are you following me?
Yes.
The PNP is a route that can waste your time. Like, the PNP is a route where you can be for 12, 18 months, 20 months and not get any decision go your way. Are you following? So, when it comes to the PNP, there are certain things that you must do, from your English language test to your reference letter to the documents that you submitted. But to join the mentorship, so I can give you all these specific answers. So, because what most of you need is one-on-one review with your applications. So just join so that we can get on the call as fast as tomorrow, and then we can review everything. Hello?
All right then. Thank you.
Yes. So good night, everybody. We'll be I think this is 10 p.m. already. At this point, I'll be taking a pause. If you have any other questions, drop it on the group so that I can answer, or you can send a direct message to the DM. Thank you, everybody, and good night. Hello? Yeah, when you called, I was in a meeting, so I couldn't answer. Okay.